The morning sun filtered through the tall windows of my room, painting golden streaks across my old diary and scattered notes. Today was the first day of college, a day I had imagined 1,000 times, yet nothing could have prepared me for the reality. My heart was a strange mix of excitement and fear. New faces, new rules, new world. It was both thrilling and terrifying. I walked through the gates, clutching my bag a little too tightly, and felt a sudden rush of uncertainty. Everyone seemed so confident, so sure of themselves. And then, I saw her. Or rather, I felt her presence before I even saw her face. She was standing by the steps, alone, reading a worn-out book as if the world around her didn't exist. There was something unusual about her. Something that drew me in silently, insistently. Her eyes, calm yet deep, seemed to hold stories I had yet to hear. And for reasons I couldn't explain, my day suddenly shifted from ordinary to extraordinary. Little did I know, that glance would mark the beginning of a story that would change everything I thought I knew about life, love, and myself. The first day ended quietly, but as I walked back home, I realized that for the first time in years, I was truly looking forward to tomorrow. Next morning, the same feeling returned, an invisible thread pulling me toward her. I found myself scanning the crowded corridors, my eyes searching for that quiet presence again. And there she was, sitting under the large oak tree in the college courtyard, completely absorbed in her book. I hesitated for a moment, unsure if I should approach or just watch from afar. Something inside me whispered that she wasn't like anyone else here. Her calm aura made the chaos around her fade, and for the first time, I realized I wanted to know her story. When our eyes met, there was a flicker, a silent acknowledgement, fleeting yet undeniable. She gave a small smile, barely noticeable, yet it made my heart skip a beat. I walked past her, pretending to be casual, but inside, my mind was racing. That day, I didn't speak a word to her, yet I felt closer to her than anyone else I had met in months. There was a quiet magic in just noticing each other, a silent promise that this was only the beginning. And somewhere deep down, I knew our paths were about to intertwine in ways I couldn't even imagine. A few days passed and the silent connection between us grew stronger, like two invisible threads weaving a fragile bond. I would catch glimpses of her during breaks, always lost in her own world, always calm amidst the chaos. And yet, every glance felt like a conversation in itself. It was during the third week that our first words were exchanged. I had accidentally dropped my notebook near her feet. She picked it up and handed it to me with a gentle smile. "Thank you," I whispered, my voice barely audible. "You're welcome," she replied softly, her eyes meeting mine for a brief moment before returning to her book. That tiny interaction left my heart racing. Who was she? How could someone say so little, and yet make you feel so much? I walked away, pretending I wasn't staring, but my mind kept replaying that small exchange over and over. From that moment, I realized that the story wasn't about grand gestures or loud declarations. It was in the quiet moments, the stolen glances, the unspoken understanding that made everything feel extraordinary. Days turned into weeks, and our encounters, though brief, became the highlight of my college days. I would find excuses to pass by her class, linger near the library, or simply sit where I could catch a glimpse of her. Somehow, the universe had woven our paths together, even if we hadn't spoken much yet. One rainy afternoon, as I hurried to the campus cafe, I noticed her standing under the shelter of a large tree, trying to avoid getting drenched. Without thinking, I ran over with my umbrella. "Here, take mine," I said, holding it out to her. She looked up, surprised, then smiled, a warm, genuine smile that made the rain feel like a gentle blessing rather than a nuisance. "Thank you," she said softly, and for a moment, the world around us seemed to pause. That small act of sharing an umbrella became a silent bridge between us. We walked together to the cafe, exchanged a few words, and laughed at the absurdity of getting caught in the rain. It was nothing monumental, yet it meant everything. From that day, I realized that closeness wasn't built overnight. It was in these little shared moments, these small gestures that slowly intertwined our lives. And I knew somehow this was just the beginning of something far more significant. By now, we had begun to talk more often, though still cautiously, as if testing the waters of a new friendship. Our conversations were small at first, about classes, books, the weather, but slowly they became personal. I found myself sharing thoughts I had never told anyone before, and she listened, really listened, with an understanding that felt rare and precious. One evening, while sitting under the same oak tree in the courtyard, she turned to me and asked softly, "Do you ever feel like life is moving too fast, and we're just trying to catch up?" Her question caught me off guard. I paused, then nodded, realizing she had put into words a feeling I couldn't express myself. "Yes," I admitted, my voice trembling slightly. "All the time." She smiled, a quiet, knowing smile. "Me too," she whispered. And in that instant, a strange comfort settled between us. A silent agreement that we could share our fears and dreams without judgment. That day, I realized something important. Friendship wasn't just about laughter and fun. It was about trust, understanding, and the courage to be vulnerable. And for the first time, I felt like I had found someone who truly understood me. From that moment, our bond deepened, not with grand gestures but with shared secrets, quiet moments, and an unspoken promise that we would be there for each other, no matter what. As the days passed, I began noticing little things. How she would tuck a strand of hair behind her ear when she was lost in thought, or how her laughter, soft and genuine, seemed to linger in the air long after she stopped. Every glance, every shared silence, felt heavier, charged with something I couldn't yet name. One evening, while walking back from the library, our hands accidentally brushed. A small, fleeting touch, yet it sent a strange warmth through me. She looked up at me, eyes wide, and for a heartbeat, neither of us spoke. The world around us seemed to vanish. "Aya," I started, my voice failing me. She just smiled, a quiet, understanding smile, and said, "It's okay." It was in that unspoken moment that I realized my feelings were changing. What had started as admiration, curiosity, and friendship was slowly transforming into something deeper. Something that scared me and thrilled me at the same time. And yet, neither of us dared to voice it. We continued our conversations, our shared moments, the gentle teasing and laughter, but always with a subtle restraint, as if we were both waiting for the other to take the first step. Somewhere between the quiet glances and accidental touches, I knew something beautiful was blossoming, delicate and fragile, and I didn't want to rush it. Just when everything felt perfect in its quiet way, life decided to test us. It started with a small misunderstanding, an innocent comment from a classmate that twisted my thoughts into confusion. I overheard her laughing with someone, and though I knew deep down it was harmless, a sudden pang of jealousy gripped me. I walked away, heart heavy, pretending I didn't care, though every step felt heavier than the last. Later that day, I avoided her. I avoided her smile, her presence, even the oak tree where we often met. But the emptiness I felt in her absence was louder than any argument or doubt. Finally, she approached me, her eyes searching, hesitant but determined. "Why are you ignoring me?" she asked softly. I wanted to speak, to explain, but the words wouldn't come. The fear of revealing too much, of being vulnerable, held me back. She sighed, a quiet, almost imperceptible sadness in her voice. "I don't understand why you're upset," she said, stepping closer. In that moment, I realized how much I cared, not just about her presence but about her feelings. And for the first time, I knew that this connection, delicate and precious as it was, could hurt as much as it healed. That evening as I walked home alone, I understood something crucial. Love, even unspoken, is never simple. And sometimes, the hardest part is finding the courage to face it. The next day, I couldn't stay silent any longer. I found her under the oak tree, the same place where so many of our quiet moments had begun. My heart pounded as I approached, unsure how to start, unsure if words would even suffice. I'm sorry. I blurted out, my voice trembling. I shouldn't have ignored you. I let my own thoughts get in the way. It was foolish. She looked at me, eyes softening, a gentle smile forming on her lips. I was worried, she admitted. I didn't know what I had done wrong, and it hurt that you were upset. We stood there in silence for a long moment, letting the words sink in, letting the tension fade away. And then slowly I reached out. She didn't pull back. Instead, she placed her hand lightly in mine, as if to say without words, "It's okay. We're okay." That moment changed everything. The invisible walls between us crumbled, replaced by trust, understanding, and a quiet joy that words could barely capture. We laughed softly, not at each other, but at the ridiculousness of how quickly fear and doubt could creep in. For the first time, I felt free to be completely myself around her. And I realized that love, real, tender, unspoken love, wasn't about grand gestures. It was about honesty, presence, and the courage to share your heart, even when it felt fragile. As the sun set behind the campus, painting everything in golden light, I knew one thing for certain. Our story had only just begun. Days after the misunderstanding had passed, everything between us felt lighter, warmer. Every glance, every laugh, every shared silence carried a new depth, like the world had grown larger, yet smaller at the same time, just enough for the two of us. One evening, we stayed behind in the library, the sun setting and casting long shadows across the quiet room. I could feel my heart racing as I watched her carefully place her books on the table. There was a pause, a moment suspended in time, and I realized I could no longer keep my feelings hidden. I like being with you, I confessed softly, my voice almost a whisper. More than I thought I would, more than I can explain. She looked at me, eyes wide, a mix of surprise and something tender flickering within them. For a heartbeat, the silence was unbearable, yet comforting. Then she smiled, a small, radiant smile that made my chest ache with happiness. I like being with you too, she said softly, almost shyly. It feels right. We didn't say more. We didn't need to. That quiet confession, simple yet profound, changed everything. No grand declarations, no dramatic gestures, just two hearts acknowledging what they already knew. From that day onward, our bond became unshakable. Every moment together, every laugh, every shared secret felt more meaningful. It wasn't just friendship anymore. It was something deeper, something that would stay with us long after these days were gone. The days that followed felt like a gentle dream. We walked through the campus, shared our thoughts under the old oak tree, and laughed over silly things that only we seemed to understand. Life had changed in the quietest, most profound way, through small moments, silent glances, and hearts that finally dared to speak. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, I realized something important. Our story was not about grand events or dramatic twists. It was about presence, trust, and the courage to feel deeply. We had started as strangers, then became friends, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, we became each other's safe space. And while the world outside kept moving, our moments remained ours, perfect, unhurried, and real. I looked at her, my heart full, and whispered, "I'm glad I met you." She smiled softly, knowingly, and replied, "Me too. All of this, it's just the beginning." And in that quiet, shared understanding, I knew it was true. Every smile, every silence, every word spoken or unspoken was a part of our journey. The story would never truly end, It would evolve, grow, and flourish with every new day, just like we would. Because some connections are timeless, some stories endless, and some hearts destined to walk together, quietly, beautifully, forever.